The new Star Wars trailer has obviously taken the internet by storm, and while a part of me wanted to go all basic bitch YouTuber and do a standard reaction video, over the weekend I got a cold and lost my voice and was pretty much quarantined to my bed and Super Mario Maker for the last few days. But despite this trailer not being really revealing of anything plot-wise, which I love by the way because I'm trying to keep myself totally devoid of any knowledge of what the plot's gonna be, there's still a little bit that I think can be taken from this, so instead of doing a reaction video since I'm a few days late, here's my top 5 takeaways from the new Star Wars trailer. First is that the war isn't over between the Galactic Empire and the Rebel Alliance, because really, why would it be? Sure, we last left off with a big celebration about the destruction of the second Death Star, the death of Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader, and that was all justified, but there obviously had to have been a chain of command there where there was still other officers, other stormtroopers, other pilots, other outposts, planets, ships, TIE fighters, all those things to where the war would have obviously continued. It's not like they would have been like, hey guys, Vader, Palpatine, they dead. We'll just call it a day. The quest to control the galaxy would obviously be ongoing, and it's kind of implied that the Galactic Empire is seeing somewhat of a rebound here, and while the Rebel Alliance, I'm sure, had a nice boost in recruitment after Return of the Jedi, things obviously aren't over yet. Second is that they're not going to rely too heavily on the original cast members. Now, this one admittedly I could be wrong about based on my insistence to not read rumors and any potential spoilers and all that kind of stuff, yada yada, but it does seem like they're kind of focusing the continuation of the Star Wars saga on this newer generation of cast members rather than trying to score cheap nostalgia points with appearances by Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, and Mark Hamill. And while I think it's great to have them back to help with transitioning the story from the old era to the new one, realistically, the passing of that torch can't have the hands of 2 generations on it for very long. Third is actual sets, less CGI. Now, we've known for a while that this was going to be the case because they've talked about it a lot throughout the production process. But even just seeing it in action, even in small sample sizes, gives the feel that Star Wars will once again be an actual movie with actual actors, rather than almost every aspect of every shot being a cartoonish CGI overkill. And all that sort of transitions to my next point, a return to the universe we know and love. Outside of a little bit of unfamiliar parts of Tatooine, the prequel trilogy took us to pretty much an entirely new universe. Just about everything we got to know in the prequels and the landscape, the planets, and everything about it was drastically different than the original Star Wars trilogy. Now, I'm sure things will be different in The Force Awakens, maybe even drastically so, but we do have Han Solo telling the new generation of characters how things were and about what happened and how this all led up to where they are now, to the point where it feels like these new movies could be a continuation of the original trilogy, whereas after the prequels, the original trilogy didn't feel much like a continuation of the prequel trilogy. And if it seems like I'm accusing the prequel trilogy of going way too far out into left field and not really having much of a connection between that trilogy and the original trilogy, it's probably because that's exactly what I'm accusing it of. If nothing else though, the thought of having obvious good guys versus obvious bad guys flying X-Wings and TIE fighters all without that boring ass political stuff that made zero sense anyway, it's just really refreshing. My last takeaway from the trailer is real emotion. Now, it feels like it's been a long time since there's been real emotion in Star Wars movies. Like, longer than I've even been alive. The prequel trilogy had a couple moments that were okay at expressing emotion, but it was so poorly written and so poorly directed that any attempts to convey such emotion mostly just came out bland and boring. Curiosity, intrigue, nervousness, excitement, horror, confusion, sadness, all of those are conveyed very well in just a 2-minute trailer. Those emotions help drive the story and help us care about the characters so long as the story is well written, and given that the storytelling is no longer in the hands of George Lucas, I think the story will probably be just fine here. Anyway, that's just a few of the takeaways of my own of the new Star Wars trailer. If you have any of your own, please feel free to share them. You know the ways to do it. And as always, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Hey everybody, thanks again for checking out this video. If you want a little bit more Star Wars stuff from me, check out the annotation link on the right for my top 5 worst changes made to the Star Wars special editions. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. I'd really appreciate it. And again, everyone, thanks so much for watching.